He started in uniform and ended up chasing criminals across borders. Today's guest brings an edge to cryptofforensics. He's a founder of AQ Forensics, a company that has helped track millions in crypto in stolen digital assets. Thanks for joining us, Albert.
Thank you for the invitation.
It's great to have you here. So I guess let's rewind to how it all started, right? I know that you served in the Austrian armed forces.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
what kind of work were you doing there, and was it somehow connected to what you are doing right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think I should start with where I started my military career back in 2001 at an infantry company in Upper Austria. And I had a few stations before I ended up at the Austrian intelligence cell. So I was also a tank commander. And not far away from the studio here, there is a barracks where I did the training to become a communicator, an army communicator, of course. And after this training, I got hired by the Austrian intelligence cell. So I was working for almost 20 years for the Austrian armed forces, and the last 6 up to 7 years for the Austrian intelligence cell.
That's really, really, really interesting. And how did it lead to you to, what you are doing now? Was it because I know for a fact that you had this first experience with cryptocurrency, and what was your reaction at the time? How did you get to know what cryptocurrency is? What were your first interaction, and where it led you, right?
Yeah. The first time I heard about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and the blockchain technology was back in 2012. And I was totally amazed because I thought, "Oh, wow, cryptocurrencies, this is the technology, or the blockchain technology is that technology which will revolutionize the financial markets like we know them at this time." And with this motivation and an idea, a crystal clear idea in my mind, I went to my boss at the Austrian intelligence agency, and I told him, "Hey, listen, we have to do an investigation, or we have to do a research about cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology, because this is the absolutely new shit, and we have to be on the edge and do some researches." And he looked at me with big eyes and asked me, "Albert, are you serious? A currency for the internet? Really? I don't think that this is a really good idea." Yeah, and it took me almost 2 years to convince him that's a good idea to do the investigation and the research about blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies from a security perspective, and how to use them from the point of view of an official department from the government. And so 2 years later, I got the allowance from the general, and he told me, "Yeah, Albert, I don't think that I will ever use cryptocurrencies, but the children of my kids will definitely. So you have the official allowance to do this project." Yeah, and 2 years later, they offered me a job in the Ministry of Defense. I think at this time I was 34, 35, and I thought, I'm a little bit too young to get lost in an office in Vienna.
Yeah.
And so I decided to change the sites and go out into the private economy. I was working for about 6 months for a cryptocurrency exchange. And afterwards, I was working for about 3 years for a software development company, which created some products with artificial intelligence for the production industry, especially for cars. So we did some surface detections from wheels and stuff like that. But at the same time, when I was working there, 6 Bitcoins got stolen from me. And as an Austrian citizen, it's clear what you have to do. You go to the next police department and open a report or a file. And so I went into the police department and I told the police officers 6 bitcoins have been stolen out of my wallet. Please help me.
So they were very empathetic.
Absolutely.
They understood you.
Yeah, they absolutely understood me, and they looked at me and told me, "Yeah, Albert, that's your fault. When you are handling with such criminal things like cryptocurrencies, we can't do anything with you for you." And for me, it was not okay, and it was not the statement I expected. Yeah? I thought, okay, now it's 2018, 19, 20.
That also puts things into perspective, right?
Yeah.
So how they were perceived back then. Although we had this big bull run, right, around that time,
Yeah.
just before that, and still people didn't really know what it is and where it comes from, and it was still some sort of a mystery for a lot of people, including police station people who are working at police stations, right? So.
Yeah, but this fact highlights another thing. It shows that the officials underestimated this technology and the cryptocurrencies. Absolutely, because in 2019, a police officer is telling me, Albert, cryptocurrency, okay, that's we heard about it. It's the money for the criminals. So maybe you have been surfing into the dark net and wanted to do some hanky-panky stuff, or they didn't wanted to do something illegal. Because, and I think it's absolutely important to say that cryptocurrencies are absolutely not a good asset for criminals, because they are absolutely transparent. And you can, if you have enough time and if you know how to analyze the transactions with some blockchain explorer or with some special software, you can find the trace of every criminal who uses cryptocurrencies.
And you have to be very patient as well, I guess.
Yes.
And emotionally detached, right? And
yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
focused,
absolutely.
So you and how was it solved, right? So you went there, you came there, you expressed your your problem, what you had to face. They responded to you, almost saying that yeah, that's your problem. And what have you decided to do afterwards?
Yeah, that was not the answer I expected at the time, and so I did my own research, and I found McAfee. It's a cybersecurity institute in the United States of America, and they offered some trainings to become a certified cryptocurrency forensic investigator. And it took me not long to decide to do this training, and so a couple of weeks later, I became Austria's first certified cryptocurrency forensic investigator.
Perfect. And yeah, and have you managed to do something with your own case? Have you found that person?
Yeah, sure. I found the person, but spoiler, I didn't get my bitcoins back.
But you've got something bigger, right? You've got a purpose in a way.
Absolutely.
And a sense of direction. Now you knew what's out there, that there is a demand, it's being unsolved, and you can propose that service to the market and help people, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this case, I did the first investigation, showed me how powerful open source intelligence and the blockchain technology is when it comes to some security purposes.
Exactly. So you've clearly seen a lot in the space by now. Let's talk about some of the most intense moments, right? Let's give some highlights to our audience. Can you walk us through a case where you and your team has met, which was really, really challenging?
I think almost every case is very challenging because they are following a clear structure, so which shows us that the criminals are very well educated and they have a kind of guideline with some steps they have to do to steal a lot of money and maybe come away with it. But I think one of the most successful cases we've ever investigated in was a case where two German citizens have been involved. They founded a company in the United States of America, a cryptocurrency company. I don't know exactly what. I think it was a kind of a payment provider or stuff like that. And one of the shareholders betrayed his partner, his business partner, and he left the company together with a cold storage, a ledger. And on this ledger, there have been 50 bitcoins on it. And as our client took notice about that circumstances, that the ledger is gone and probably the Bitcoin, he took a look into the blockchain explorer and noticed that indeed the Bitcoins have been transferred from the cold storage to 5 virtual asset service providers. And in the next step, he tried to open a file at the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States of America. He's still waiting for a response. So he decided, okay, the FBI is not going to talk to me, so I have to go to the police department. And so he opened a file at the Miami PD. And there, it's a little bit different how the police in the United States are dealing with some reports like in Austria or in Europe. And they have some special detectives for financial crimes. And at this time, this detective was very experienced when it comes to financial crimes, but she didn't have many experience when it comes to crypto crime or crypto-related financial crimes. Yeah, and so he decided to hire us to do a forensic investigation and help this detective to solve the case. And so he gave us all the transaction data he had. We identified the WASPs and opened a subpoena together with this financial detective to get some personal information from these accounts we identified as the accounts from the perpetrators. And they sent us back the data, and we did a second round of a forensic analysis and found at the end of the day all the wallets with the bitcoins in it. And as add-on, and this was absolutely an highlight for us, because usually when we are doing some investigations, we don't see the criminals or we don't get pictures from the criminals. But in this case, it was very special because the criminal tried to launder the assets and swap it into several other cryptocurrencies. And one of these assets he chose was Ripple. And for us at this time,
XRP, right?
XRP,
Exactly.
Ripple, yeah.
And that's one of the most traceable ones, I guess.
At this time, it was not able for us to trace Ripple transactions with our tools. So we had to use a usual blockchain explorer for Ripple transactions.
All right.
And as we traced all the steps the criminal made, we found one wallet, and attached to this wallet there was a picture. And I thought, yes, now we have him. And now we have not only the money, but also the evidence that the shareholder of our client was also behind the theft. And this was the missing link in the digital evidence. And so that was a huge highlight for us and a huge success.
And a big game changer in this case, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right afterwards, it was way easier for you and for your partners at American authorities, right? To solve this. So you have mentioned one big mistake that criminals make, right, in this space. What other ones? What are the other ones?
If they become self-confident, so that means if they don't do the first deal, it's the second or third theft they had done, and they got self-confident because nobody caught them. They are losing their track, so they are losing breadcrumbs from time to time. So digital evidence, and we as investigators, we have to pull them up, bring them together, and build the whole picture out of these breadcrumbs.
So did they start losing the grip with their grip with reality, right? So their connection, and they start making mistakes because they get too confident,
Absolutely.
and they start closing their eyes on some small steps which they deem to be negligible, right? Because
Yeah.
nobody caught them previously. But yeah, history never repeats itself. It may rhyme, but it never repeats itself the same way, and there are always these little details, right?
Yeah. Well said.
Devil is in the
Yeah.
details.
It
So,
is.
was there a moment where you pulled off something especially sharp to solve a case?
Absolutely. Not only one moment, not a single one. There have been a lot of them. Because at the beginning of my investigations career, I did some training cases to gain some experience how to solve cryptocurrency related fraud and stuff like that. And I have chosen the JavaScript sniffer fraud, which was very well documented and related to the Lazarus Group. The Lazarus Group is North Korea's cyber army, and they have been also responsible for the Bybit hack, where they have been stolen, where they have stolen $1.5 billion dollars. Yeah, correct. And I thought, okay, for me to practice a little bit, that's a good case to start with. And I found 3 publicly available wallet addresses, and I tried to read them. I tried to analyze them. I tried to extract the data, and I followed the track of the funds, the stolen funds. And really quick, I ended up at some wallet addresses which also have been involved into this Ronin bridge attack from the Axie Infinity protocol, where the Lazarus Group was able to steal $660 million. So they mixed all the stolen funds together and transferred it in a peel chain. That's a special mechanism to launder some crypto assets in the crypto space. Sent these peeled assets to some laundry services, and afterwards to some regulated, really well-known cryptocurrency exchanges. And this was really my eye-opening moment for me. And the second case was also related to the Lazarus Group, the atomic wallet hack. I think they have been able to steal $160 million from thousands of clients who use their atomic wallets and tried to store their assets secure in this wallet. And what did they do? They steal several different cryptocurrencies out of the atomic wallets, sent it to the MetaMask, swapped it into some wrapped ether, sent it to a smart contract, swapped it again into Bitcoin B, and burned it on this protocol. So what I had to do was to doing hours of research and try to understand why criminals are stealing some crypto assets, swapping these crypto assets into some several cryptocurrencies, send it to the Avalanche protocol and burn them.
Burn them at the end, yeah.
And I found a way and I found the answer why they did this, to make the investigation really, really difficult and really, really hard. And about this case, I was also talking with a company of mine. He's working for the Criminal Intelligence Agency here in Austria. And he told me, yeah, Albert, I'm sorry, but there was one colleague who was able to solve such difficult cases, but he left the agency and is now working for some private companies. So this means they are currently not able to solve such complicated cases. This was really, really widening my perspective on such crypto investigations, because they are really, really difficult, very different. And if you have to deal with some actors like the North Korean cyber hacking army, that's a tough thing.
So you've learned a lot about this, and have you had any success of tackling this case like solving
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I found a solution. It really was not easy to solve this case, but I found a way. First of all, I found out why they burned the assets on the one protocol. So it was possible for them to restore them on another blockchain. So they changed the blockchains several times, which makes it very, very difficult to do the investigations and following the right track of the funds. That means you can have the best developed forensic software tool in the world, and it's worthless if you don't understand how to use it and how to solve the case and how to do this kind of investigations. And without understanding the behavior or what's in the mind of these hackers.
How realistic is it to recover funds once they are stolen? Yeah.
It depends. Time is really, really important when it comes to some crypto-related fraud and recovering the assets. That means if a victim to a crypto fraud recognizes that his assets are stolen or lost, when he is acting fast enough, collecting digital evidence, getting in touch with some experts, and involving the authorities, because we need in almost every investigation at some point the authorities, there are quite a good chance to recover the stolen funds. If the theft case happened 2018, 2019, there are also from time to time very good results when it comes to do some investigations and recover the funds, because at this time nobody from the criminals took notice about chain analysis or companies like that. Crystal Intelligence, for example, who are developing some forensic software tools to do some investigations for cryptocurrencies. So that means back at this time, they don't have been very cautious. So they sent the assets from the client's wallet directly to a regulated exchange and KYC regulated account.
Exactly. AML and everything.
Yeah. and there are a lot of data. So if all of the stakeholders are playing very efficient together, there is a really high percentage of assets we can recover.
Have you ever faced safety concerns doing this work?
Yes.
Also, maybe exchanges, right? What do you think about the current practice? Like, are there any problems associated with their safety? Because I know for a fact that Binance invested at least 1 billion last year, around that, in safety, right, in compliance and such security overall. But I guess there are still vulnerabilities, right? Recently we had this problem with Bybit.
Oh yeah.
A lot of funds have been stolen.
Binance is investigating per year. I think the last numbers they released have been 68 or 70,000 cases of crypto-related crime globally. So, which they are dealing internally. So that's quite a huge number. So I think that highlights that it's not hard to get a wallet or to get some crypto assets, but I think the harder part is to sell them at the price you want to sell your crypto assets,
Exactly.
without losing them between buying the cryptocurrencies, selling them.
Yeah. That's the biggest concern. And what about the tools, right? Which tools help you to be, to be in line with the latest professional developments in the field?
The most important tool we use is our brain, of course. No, just kidding. We are using some special developed forensic software to visualize the track of stolen funds. With the help of these software solutions, we can red flag some wallets, we can monitor the wallets, we can report some wallets, which is also very helpful when it comes to crypto crime investigations, because when I red flag a wallet and this wallet is sending some stolen funds to an exchange, the compliance department of this exchange is also seeing, we received some stolen funds, so freeze them. And they get in touch with me as an investigator, and they're telling me, okay, Albert, we got the stolen funds, so please open a file with the authorities, get in touch with us. Your client have to do a KYC process. And then we send him back the funds within the next. I think the fastest thing had been 14 days, and usually it's 1 month, 30 days to 1 month. Yeah.
All right, then let's talk about what's next for blockchain forensics, right? This space truly doesn't sit still, right, as we can see, and let's explore what's changing right now. For instance, AI, right? It's a big topic, and everybody's talking about it. And AI is not just about ChatGPT or AI agents, but maybe you could shed some light on how is AI showing up in investigations.
That case I described with the Lazarus group, this is a case I think AI would not really help you to solve this case, because you have to do all this investigation, you have to do the research and try to understand why criminals are using several blockchains to hide their traces. But there are some platforms or some tools like Arkham Intelligence, and they have implemented some kind of AI which helps you tracing some multiswaps. And when it comes to multiswaps, it's a really helpful tool. And it's really helpful to have an artificial intelligence buddy on your side or by your side who helps you solving all these traces, because this is very time consuming. And yeah, that's a game changer for me.
And what kind of skills or mindset does someone need to succeed in blockchain forensics today? What would you recommend for those who are just starting out, and for those who are actually experienced in this space?
I think you have to be very curious about new things, curious about how criminals are thinking, find solutions or try to find some solutions. I think
so. Curiosity, intellectual curiosity, right? And always trying to be dedicated to find the solutions, and being very focused, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the certification, right, that you have received at the very early stages of your development in this space.
Yeah.
Would you recommend any at the moment, right? The one in 2025, as of 2025?
Yeah, if you're new to the space and you're interested into cryptocurrency investigations, you should read a lot. Really read a lot about protocols, projects, past frauds or thefts, or some cases who have been solved by the FBI, CIA, and so on. And if you read all these articles and you're still interested in becoming a forensic investigator, you can join the armed forces or the police, because they are always looking for new people, interested people, open-minded people who can solve complex cases. Cryptocurrencies are involved. Yeah, I think
so. Traditional structures are also evolving. They're getting more curious about,
absolutely,
about this new emerging tech, right?
Yeah.
And they're staying open now
Yeah.
to new developments. That's really good to know. And for the average crypto user, right? For the average person who uses cryptocurrencies, plays with them, experiments, but not too much, right?
Yeah.
What's one practical way to stay safer out there?
Work with experienced and licensed providers of crypto services.
So centralized exchanges, those are licensed and
Yeah, it depends. It depends. Use you know the statement, not your keys, not your coins. So if a cryptocurrency exchange got hacked, your funds
could be
mostly
used, yeah,
could
yeah,
be used or stolen.
stolen.
Yeah. So buy your crypto assets on a regulated exchange, store them safe on a hardware wallet, and don't tell anybody about their cryptocurrencies, and don't do too much experiments. Don't try to double your assets by sending them to a fraudulent wallet, or never give away your seed phrases. Connect yourself with experts like, for example, the DLT Austria. They are doing a lot of great work to educate people, or follow you on your LinkedIn profile, or visit us on our homepage. And we are always there for you. So if you have some questions, just
Perfect.
ask us.
Thanks again for joining us. And to everybody listening or watching, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends and everyone who is curious about the crypto world and the innovative technologies, right? And looking to understand the space better. Thank you very much for your
Thank you for the
inclusion.
invitation.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.